7 principles that will organize your entire life. Marcus Aurelius. Stoicism motivation. There comes a moment in life when everything feels noisy. Your mind is crowded with pressure, distractions, fears, and unfinished thoughts. You wake up tired. You go to sleep worried. And somewhere inside you, there is a quiet voice asking one question: how do I regain control of my life? This is where Stoicism changes everything. Not because it makes life easier, but because it makes you stronger. For over 2,000 years, Stoic philosophy has guided warriors, leaders, thinkers, and ordinary people through chaos, pain, uncertainty, and loss. And among all Stoic thinkers, one name continues to stand above the rest: Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire while facing war, betrayal, sickness, and constant pressure. Yet through all of it, he discovered principles that kept his mind disciplined and his life organized. These principles are not complicated. But if you truly live by them, they can completely transform the way you think, act, and respond to the world. And today, you are going to learn 7 of those principles. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications if you want more timeless wisdom that helps you become calmer, stronger, and more disciplined every single day. This channel exists to help you grow through Stoicism, self-mastery, and powerful life lessons that never expire. Now take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's begin with the first principle. Principle 1. Control what is yours. Most people destroy their peace by trying to control things that were never theirs to control. They worry about opinions. They obsess over outcomes. They fear rejection. They replay conversations in their head. They try to force life to move according to their plans. And because of this, they remain anxious, frustrated, and emotionally exhausted. But Stoicism teaches something radically freeing. You only control 3 things: your thoughts, your actions, and your responses. Everything else belongs to life. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That single sentence can organize your entire life. Think about how much energy people waste every day. They try to control who loves them. They try to control whether people understand them. They try to control the future. But the harder they try, the more powerless they become. A Stoic understands that peace begins when control ends. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. You cannot stop the wind. You cannot stop the rain. But you can control how you stand. You can control whether you panic or remain calm. That is true power. There is a story about a businessman who lost almost everything during an economic collapse. His company failed. Friends disappeared. People mocked him. For months, he lived in anger and fear. But eventually, he realized something important. He could not control the economy. He could not control betrayal. But he could control whether he became bitter or disciplined. So he rebuilt himself. He woke up early. He trained his body. He studied every day. He stopped complaining. Years later, he succeeded again, but this time with inner peace. The external world changed because the internal world changed first. Ask yourself this question: what am I trying to control that I need to release? Sometimes the greatest freedom comes from accepting reality instead of fighting it. And if this lesson already speaks to you, subscribe now because the next principles will go even deeper into building a calm and powerful mind. What situations am I trying to control that are actually outside my power? How often do I allow other people's opinions to affect my peace? When problems appear, do I react emotionally or respond calmly? What habits help me stay in control of my thoughts? If I focused only on my actions and attitude, how would my life change? What would happen if I stopped worrying about outcomes I cannot control? Am I giving too much mental energy to things that do not deserve it? Principle 2. Live in accordance with nature. Modern life teaches people to ignore themselves. People stay awake all night chasing distractions. They compare themselves constantly. They run after money, status, approval, and endless stimulation. And in the middle of all this noise, they lose connection with what is natural. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Live according to nature. This does not only mean nature outside you. It also means your inner nature, your true character, your values, your purpose, and your human responsibilities. Marcus Aurelius believed that happiness comes when your actions align with reason, discipline, honesty, and virtue. A tree grows naturally towards sunlight. It does not compare itself to another tree. It simply fulfills its purpose. Human beings suffer because they abandon theirs. Many people today are emotionally exhausted because they are living against themselves. They say yes when they mean no. They chase goals they do not even care about. They live for appearances instead of truth. But the Stoic path is simple. Return to what matters. Sleep properly. Speak honestly. Build discipline. Work with purpose. Protect your mind. Spend time in silence. Stop consuming endless negativity. Stop betraying your own values for temporary comfort. Nature already teaches balance. But most people are too distracted to notice. There is a powerful story about a young man who spent years chasing validation online. Every day, his happiness depended on attention from strangers. But no matter how much approval he received, he still felt empty. One day he disconnected from social media for a month. He started reading, exercising, walking outside, and reflecting in silence. Slowly, his anxiety began disappearing. Why? Because he stopped living artificially. He returned to himself. Ask yourself honestly, am I living according to my true values, or according to the expectations of others? Your life becomes organized the moment your inner world becomes aligned. Am I living according to my values or according to social pressure? What parts of my daily life feel artificial or unhealthy? Do my habits support peace and discipline, or distraction and chaos? When was the last time I truly felt connected to myself? What simple lifestyle changes would bring more balance into my life? Am I chasing things I genuinely want, or things that impress others? What does a natural and meaningful life look like for me? Principle 3. Embrace impermanence. One of the greatest causes of suffering is pretending things will last forever. People become attached to youth, money, relationships, comfort, and certainty. They live as though tomorrow is guaranteed. But Stoicism constantly reminds us of one unavoidable truth. Everything changes. Nothing stays forever. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Loss is nothing else but change, and change is nature's delight." At first, this sounds painful. But in reality, it is liberating. Because once you accept impermanence, you stop taking life for granted. You appreciate moments more deeply. You stop wasting time on meaningless arguments. You stop postponing your happiness. A Stoic understands that life is temporary, and because it is temporary, it becomes precious. Imagine holding sand in your hand. The tighter you squeeze it, the faster it slips away. Life works the same way. Trying to possess everything creates fear. Accepting change creates peace. There was once an old teacher who lost his home in a fire. While others expected him to collapse emotionally, he calmly watched the flames and said, "Now I can clearly see the moon." That is Stoic perspective. Not denial. Not emotional numbness. But acceptance. People who fear change become prisoners of fear. But people who embrace change become adaptable, resilient, and calm. Ask yourself this. If everything in my life changed tomorrow, who would I still be? Your character must become stronger than your circumstances. And remember this, one day, every conversation, every opportunity, and every sunrise will happen for the last time. Let that realization wake you up instead of frightening you. What am I afraid of losing? Do I appreciate the people in my life as if they may not always be here? How would I live differently if I truly remembered life is temporary? What unnecessary attachments are causing me suffering? Am I resisting change instead of learning from it? If everything changed tomorrow, what inner strengths would remain? What moments in life have taught me that nothing lasts forever? Principle 4. Practice voluntary discomfort. Most people are weak because they spend their entire lives avoiding discomfort. They avoid hard conversations, hard work, discipline, silence, rejection, struggle, responsibility. But comfort has a hidden danger. The more addicted you become to comfort, the more fragile you become when life becomes difficult. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Train yourself to endure discomfort willingly. Marcus Aurelius believed that challenges strengthen the mind the same way resistance strengthens muscles. A life without difficulty creates weakness. That is why Stoics practiced voluntary discomfort. Sometimes they slept on the floor. Sometimes they fasted. Sometimes they trained themselves to go without luxury. Why? Because they wanted to prove to themselves that they could survive without dependence on comfort. Modern people panic over small inconveniences because they have never trained resilience. But every time you choose discipline over comfort, you become stronger. Every early morning builds mental toughness. Every workout strengthens self-respect. Every difficult conversation builds courage. Every moment of restraint builds character. There is a story about a soldier who trained in freezing conditions every morning while others complained. People laughed at him. They said he was too extreme. But when crisis came, he remained calm while everyone else panicked. Preparation creates confidence. Discomfort prepares you for reality. Ask yourself honestly, what discomfort am I avoiding that could actually make me stronger? Growth rarely feels comfortable. But weakness feels far worse in the long run. What discomfort do I constantly avoid? Which difficult habit would strengthen me if I practiced it daily? Am I becoming mentally stronger or mentally softer each year? How do I react when life becomes uncomfortable? What challenge have I been postponing out of fear? Do I choose comfort too often instead of growth? What small act of discipline can I begin today? Principle 5. Serve something greater than yourself. A life focused only on personal pleasure eventually becomes empty. People chase money, entertainment, status, and endless self-interest, yet still feel lost inside. Why? Because human beings were not designed to live only for themselves. Stoicism teaches that meaning comes through contribution. Serve something greater than yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the hive is not good for the bee." That means your life becomes meaningful when your existence improves the lives of others. This does not require fame. You do not need millions of followers to live meaningfully. You can serve through kindness, through honesty, through protecting your family, through helping someone in pain, through building something valuable, through becoming a person others can rely on. There is a story about an elderly man who spent years planting trees even though he knew he would never sit under their shade. Someone asked him why he continued. He replied, "Because someone once planted trees for me." That is wisdom. Modern culture constantly says, "What can I get?" Stoicism asks, "What can I give?" Ironically, people who focus only on themselves often feel the emptiest. But people who dedicate themselves to service discover a deeper kind of fulfillment. Ask yourself, who becomes stronger because I exist? Your life gains structure when your purpose becomes larger than your ego. Who benefits from my existence? Am I living only for myself, or am I contributing to others? What legacy do I want to leave behind? How can I help people with the skills or wisdom I already have? Do I measure success only by money and status? What kind of person do I want others to remember me as? How can I make someone's life better today? Principle 6. Guard your inner citadel. There is a place inside you that no one can touch unless you allow them to. The Stoics called this the inner citadel. Your inner fortress. Your mind. Most people hand this fortress over to the world every single day. A rude comment ruins their mood. Bad news destroys their peace. Social media controls their self-worth. One failure makes them question themselves entirely. But Stoicism teaches emotional sovereignty. Protect your inner world. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. Even while leading Rome through war and plague, he constantly reminded himself that external chaos does not need to become internal chaos. This principle is life-changing. You cannot always control what enters your life. But you can control what enters your mind. Imagine your mind as a castle gate. Every thought, influence, an opinion knocks on that gate asking for entry. Most people open the gate to everything: negativity, gossip, fear, outrage, insecurity. Then they wonder why their minds feel heavy. A Stoic becomes selective. Selective with attention. Selective with energy. Selective with influence. There is a reason peaceful people often spend time alone. Not because they hate others, but because they protect their inner clarity. One young woman struggled constantly with anxiety because she consumed negative content all day. News, arguments, toxic comparisons. Eventually, she realized her mind was being trained toward fear. So she changed what she consumed. She read wisdom instead of outrage. She practiced silence instead of endless distraction. Slowly, her inner world became calmer. Your environment shapes your mind. Ask yourself, what am I allowing into my inner citadel every day? Protect your peace like your future depends on it, because it does. What influences are damaging my peace of mind? Who or what controls my emotions too easily? What kind of content am I feeding my mind every day? Do I spend enough time in silence and reflection? How often do I protect my energy from negativity? What thoughts repeatedly weaken my confidence? If my mind were a fortress, what would I stop allowing inside? Principle 7. Do good now, without hesitation. One of the greatest lies people believe is that they still have plenty of time. Time to change. Time to apologize. Time to pursue purpose. Time to become disciplined. But Stoicism constantly reminds us that life is uncertain. The right time is now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years." That quote should wake every person up. Too many people delay becoming who they know they should be. They wait for motivation. They wait for confidence. They wait for perfect conditions. Meanwhile, life keeps moving. A Stoic understands that action matters more than excuses. If you need to say sorry, say it now. If you need to begin, begin now. If you need to change your habits, start today. Not next year. Not someday. Now. There is a story about a man who always postponed his dreams because he thought there would always be more time. Years passed. Opportunities disappeared. Relationships faded. Eventually, he realized that procrastination had quietly stolen his life. Do not let hesitation become your future regret. Action creates momentum. And momentum changes lives. Ask yourself this question carefully. What is one good thing I already know I should do today? What important action have I been delaying? If today were my last day, what would I regret not doing? What excuse do I keep repeating to avoid change? What good thing can I do immediately after watching this video? Am I waiting for motivation instead of building discipline? What dream have I postponed for too long? How would my future change if I started today instead of tomorrow? Then do it before this video ends. These 7 Stoic principles can organize your entire life if you truly live by them. Control what is yours. Live according to nature. Embrace impermanence. Practice voluntary discomfort. Serve something greater than yourself. Guard your inner citadel. Do good now, without hesitation. Simple principles, but powerful enough to transform the way you think forever. The world today is filled with noise, distraction, fear, and confusion. But Stoicism offers clarity. It reminds you that strength is built internally long before it appears externally. Every calm response builds discipline. Every difficult choice builds character. Every moment of awareness builds wisdom. You do not need to become perfect overnight. You only need to become slightly stronger each day. And if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs these principles right now. More people are searching for peace, discipline, and direction than ever before, and together we can spread wisdom that truly changes lives. I want to leave you with one final reminder from Marcus Aurelius. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Never waste the time you have. Live wisely. Live courageously. And keep mastering yourself.